Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Paul Dalzell, and I am the worship coordinator of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charleston. Welcome all of you, our members, our friends, and if this is your first time here, we welcome you and thank you for joining us today. If you are new to UUC, I sincerely hope you will find us to be an open, accepting community. We are the place, as a wise man once told me, if you don't feel you fit in anywhere else, you belong here. We come together as a community to do good and to be better. As the Zen Buddhists say, each of you is perfect just the way you are, and you can use a little improvement. When we gather to worship in this place, we shape what is of worth to us. To gather in community, to sit together, to sing together, to listen, and to find peace. Please know that we welcome you, whoever you are. I'd also like to take a moment to thank all the volunteers and staff who work to make Sundays happen. Thanks to our music coordinator, Jamie Edwards, and the UUC music makers for the work they do to bring us joy. And, as always, a big thank you to our congregational administrator, Sarah Stone, for her patience and talent in organizing these facilities, keeping us informed, and keeping this community of caring counterculture congregants operating. I would like to remind you, I remembered this time, to silence your electronic devices if you would. They keep them from making loud and annoying noises during the service. Today, the Phoenix Roots and Shoots Religious Exploration Group will discuss the UUA value of interdependence. It will include a story and activity for young children, and the Roots and Shoots segment will include a visit from a SOAR member who will work with the young people to figure out how to help with provisions for companion animals as a Roots and Shoots project. Spiral Moon Grove will be meeting this Thursday at 6:30 in the Webb Room. Spiral Moon Grove is a small pagan spirituality group that is part of UUC. They are an eclectic group and have members who follow many different spiritual paths. All are welcome. This Friday, November 22nd at 6:30, Kaleidoscope Collective will host a Friendsgiving potluck and will show the movie Barbie. Again, I say, I am certain it will be both Barbie-tastic and kinalicious. And as always, join us on Thanksgiving Day at 3 p.m. for our annual Thanksgiving potluck dinner. Please do sign up on the link that has been sent out via email and is in the weekly update newsletter, so we don't end up with 50 kinds of green beans and no desserts. Brian?
November 20th is the Trans Day of Remembrance, and we would like to share something with all of you. It's a prayer for our transcestors. We love and remember our trans siblings stolen from us this year. We love and remember all of our transcestors stolen from us throughout time and space. Our hearts are broken. May we find care in our community to keep grieving, keep loving, and keep living. Let us pray and remember. Life, soul, love. We call out to you in our grief and our rage. We call out to you in our terror and our exhaustion. Please help us gather ourselves together and to each other. Give us strength, give us comfort, give us care. Life, soul, love. We call out to you in our need for support and change. We call out to you in our dreams and wishes. Please help us survive. Please change the hearts and souls of those who directly bring us harm. Please change the heart and souls of those who allow harm to come to us through their absence. Life, soul, love, we call out to you in our sacred wholeness. We call out to you in our full humanity. Please sustain us as we love and fight for ourselves and our trans siblings right now and always. Please bring us a day when we may live whole and sacred and reasonably safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And now, as Brian lights our chalice, I'll read our chalice lighting words. We light today's chalice with these words from the late UU minister Max Kapp. Often I have felt that I must praise my world for what my eyes have seen these many years and what my heart has loved. And often I have tried to start my lines, "Dear Earth," I say. And then I pause to look once more. Soon I am bemused and far away in wonder, so I never get beyond "Dear Earth." In this spirit, let this bowl of light be kindled. Please rise in body, spirit, and voice as you are able for our hymn for gathering. It's number 389, Gathered Here.
We'll be singing this through 3 times. I'm going to play it through once.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in this one strong power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Spirit, draw near.
Please join me in welcoming Mary Bracey, who will read our story for all ages. Mary?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I'm actually going to pull this little handy-dandy stool out here. There we go. I'm not used to having to stand still while telling a story, so this is a challenge for me. Y'all bear with me. But I'd like to tell you a story about a Thanksgiving when I was newly married to my first husband. This was years and years ago, before my kids, before all of that. And my parents, usually we did Thanksgiving all together at my parents' house. This year, nobody else could make it. So my parents came to see me on Thanksgiving. I felt a lot of pressure. It was on me to cook the perfect turkey. It was on me to do all of the perfect sides, to bake the perfect pumpkin pie. So there I am in the kitchen on Thanksgiving Day, and my parents arrived, and I was so happy to see them. And they sat down with my husband, and Mom came in the kitchen, of course, and asked if there was anything she could do. I'm like, no, Mom, I got this. It's all right. So she goes in the other room, and I was so nervous that, and to put this in perspective, I also maybe deal with a little ADHD. So I put the turkey in. The turkey was in the oven. The pumpkin pie was underneath the turkey because I'm trying to fit everything in the oven together. And I didn't realize there was a hole in the bottom of the pan where the turkey was cooking. So my first inclination that something might be off was when I went to take the pumpkin pie out and there was juice on the top of it. So I'm thinking, okay, all right, I can save this. I poured the juice off, and I'm like, maybe they won't notice that the pumpkin pie tastes like turkey. And then I got doing something else, and I'm making sides on the top, and then I smell something, and I'm like, oh, and I open it up, and the top of the turkey was, let's just say, a little more done than it probably should have been. And so I pull it out, and I'm like, that's okay, I can peel that off. It's gonna be all right, it'll be all right. So I get the turkey, and I put it on this big old platter that I had, and I set it on the countertop, and maybe it wasn't like quite as much on the countertop as it should have been because there were lots of stuff on the counter too. And so carving the turkey is like this grand tradition in our family that my dad always did, and he like did this perfect carving of the turkey. So I'm like, I can do this. I got this. Because I had gotten a brand new electric carving knife. It was great. So I plug it in, there it goes, and I go to carve the turkey, and I guess I pressed a little bit too hard because the whole turkey goes boom onto the floor. I sat down in the middle of the floor and just started crying. And I'm bawling, and Mom hears me. She comes running in, she goes, Mary, what's wrong? And then she sees the turkey, and she's like, oh. You have to understand, my mom was 5'2" of optimism. That was her. So she looks at that, and she's like, it's okay, we'll go out to eat. I really love going out to eat. And so she went and she got my dad and my then husband, Mark, and she said, we're going out to eat. And by the look on her face, they could tell something desperately wrong had happened. So they're like, okay. So we all pile in the car. We're driving around town, and I'm feeling just awful. And we're driving around. We're looking for some place that's open. Well, back then, we lived in Jacksonville. There weren't a lot of places open on Thanksgiving. And so we're driving around, trying to find some place open. And there it is, Awful House, because the W was burnt out. And so we're like, okay, all right, that's always open. So we go in, and we're sitting down at the booth, and we order, well, waffles, because that's the best thing to get at Waffle House. And so they come, and we're sitting there, and I'm just like looking at my waffle, cutting it up a little bit, and I'm just feeling horrible. I have ruined Thanksgiving. And my mom sees me looking like this, and she leans over and sings me her favorite song really quietly. And so she leans across the table and she starts in. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow blows away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya, tomorrow, you're always a day away. And then I noticed everybody was quiet. You could have heard a pin drop in Waffle House, and that's saying something if you've ever been there. And just for the couple of moments, nobody said a word. And then forks started clanging again. Coffee cups started being lifted. But I heard snippets of conversation around the room, and it was, I really love that song. Or, my mom used to sing that song, or I used to sing that song to my kids, and conversations started about optimism and joy. And I think back on that today, and I realize she changed the people around her in that moment just by being her. Just by being her. And that's what I aspire to, is to be like my mom. Thank you.
Thank you. Joys for this morning. Mike Zian and Misty Martin have a new home. Amy, he is a first-time home buyer and is thankful. We had a wonderful open mic, as well as our own talents. Don, Mary, Mike, Maddie, and Doug Imbrogno brought his four-piece group, Through the Trees. Bug Kinder and Sean Richardson also showed up. That is there, okay. Kaylee with SOAR Mutual Aid Pet Care is here to talk to the UU kids about animals. Drew is back after a long break with soldier surgery. Paul Flaherty, who we mentioned last week, is improving, moved to step down, and will be transferred to medical rehab. That's great news. And Keith Beisner is here for a visit. Concern? Deborah lost her very favorite light blue rain jacket. If anyone's found it, please return. Thank you. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. It is a reminder of that form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith.
Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wandering weather. On that day, thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see, wait and see. and sorrow, and the promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me.
Please join me in reading our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of our faith, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Part of our service today is the actual breaking of the bread. Visual demonstration. I haven't started yet. But thank you, Deborah. Oh, it is the meditation. You are correct. I did. I am sorry. The breaking of the bread will come up in a second, Don. I'm sorry.
Seamless. No, not on you. You're looking at, yeah. Folks, we haven't met yet, or I just met you. Reminder, my name is Don Rollins. I serve this congregation as contract minister. We are so glad to see you here. More? So glad to see you here. Am I working off this one, or which one? Originally, let me get back here. I had borrowed a time of meditation for us this morning. We will still have some silence together, but I haven't seen many of you folks since a set of elections. And while there are some here that I have spoken with, and hopefully for. See what Mary does for me? Right there, she does. Yeah. It is so easy to think that we are somehow alone right now. It is so easy to walk around and try to figure out what comes next. What do we do? Where do we go? Where are our people? What is the mission now? I suggest to you that we are part of something bigger. For those of you who are not aware, we are part of the Unitarian Universalist Association. There's a merger of two denominations in 1961. Two denominations go back to the 1700s. So we are not here come lately. We are here. The reason I tell you this is because our association has issued a statement that reminds us once again we are not alone. I want to read that to you. It's excerpted. And the point here is to remember once again that we have people in other places who speak with and for us right now. I read from the association. To our beloved Unitarian Universalist community, this morning we awoke to the undeniable reality that the religious and political right's decades-long strategy to sow fear and division and pit our communities against one another prevailed on the electoral landscape. And while there were victories on important issues in state measures and local races, we cannot deny that the politicians who hold control of the presidency and the Senate have told us clearly of their intent to target our communities and further destabilize our democracy. Beloveds, we are with you in all of this today. We acknowledge that among us are a wide range of emotions and experiences and reactions and needs, but we make space for all of us, and we join you in your tears, your terror, your anger. Dear ones, I'm so proud to be a part of this association this morning, even if I Anyway, dear ones, please know that your Unitarian Universalist Association has been planning for multiple scenarios, including this one, for a very long time. We know well that these election results will mean even more threats against our beloveds, especially those BIPOC folk who identify as BIPOC, migrants, trans, non-binary, queer folk, the disabled community, people with uteruses, and more. There is profound rage in the nation right now among both the staggering number of those who chose to vote for this agenda of domination and division and those who feel betrayed and dehumanized by it. At the same time, Unitarian Universalists know that democracy and justice are central to, but not defined by, electoral cycles. We honor and celebrate the incredible work thousands of UUs have done through UU the Vote this year. That's a movement within the denomination. We remind ourselves that the long-term struggles for democracy, for bodily autonomy, for climate justice, decriminalization, are the ongoing imperatives of our faith. These are not mere statements. We make them not because we want simply to protest, but because we have stood for values for long before this election. We will stand for those values now. We will continue to side with love. Again, that is part of a campaign within our denominations, if you're not aware, because that is who we are. Regardless of the results of any one election, we will center ourselves in love. We will ground ourselves in work going forward that are centered in our shared values of justice and equity and transformation and pluralism, interdependence, generosity. This is a moment. It is a moment for deliberate... UUA speak, folks, hang with me. It is a moment for deliberate, you know what I mean, ness. So we pause. We pause and we breathe. We hold one another close. And then we ask this: how will Unitarian Universalism meet this moment? Who are we called to be now? And what are our deepest values and commitments compelling us to travel the terrain that lies ahead? And perhaps the greatest gift of belonging to this rooted, dynamic, living tradition of Unitarian Universalism is knowing in our bones that we are both the inheritors of a complex, powerful legacy. We are the stewards, then, of the future yet to be imagined. Today, as it has always been, the unwavering love at the center of our faith is our greatest balm, spelled B-A-L-M, our strongest shield, our fiercest power. That animating core of love will both demand our rigorous action and offer us the wellspring of hope and courage that will equip us for the road that lies ahead. And then there's the end of the excerpt. Beloveds, we will hold our fear together. We will honor our rage, our devastation, and grief together. We will hold one another ferociously, tenderly, faithfully. And then we will move deliberately. We will find our way. We will find our footing. We will invest in trust. We will claim joy in rest and sustenance. We will resist en masse, E-N-M-A-S-S-E for those. We will fight fascism. We will continue the struggle for democracy. We will continue to build our movements of justice. We will continue to focus our efforts and abandon distractions. I say again, abandon distractions. We will create safe harbor for those in danger. We will leverage our resources. We will sharpen our skills, our analysis. We will act as if no person is disposable. We will refuse the politics of division and despair. We will seek the wisdom of the elders. We will weave deeper connections with our neighbors. We will be there. And we will be there in love and faith and solidarity. Be right back. We can do this. So, folks, I know such straight words can sometimes offend. That's not the goal. The goal is to be able to say there are some folks on the other end who are getting us organized. Can we cast our fate with theirs and say we are one here? Can we do that? I say we can.
That was pretty powerful. Let's do take that moment of silence. Now, watch me struggle as I break this bread. It'll be. That one's symbolic. And going home with me. Seeds scattered on fertile ground are warmed by the sun and fed by the soil. They sprout and grow, producing great fields of grain. The grain is harvested and ground into flour and shipped across the nation. The flour is mixed with yeast and water and salt, and kneaded, allowed to rise, and baked to make bread. The bread is broken in the sacred space of this worship service and shared in this community of love. The breaking of bread is an ancient ritual of community and memory, celebrated in many different traditions and many different ways. Today, as we approach the American celebration of Thanksgiving, we break bread together to celebrate the abundance of the harvest, the hard work of all who make our lives possible, and the community that gathers here to worship today. As you pass the bread to the person next to you, we invite you to turn to them and say, "I offer you the bread of community." As the bread is passed to you, take a piece from the basket and eat it. In doing so, taking into you the love of this community. As you eat the bread, bring to mind those things and people for which you are thankful at this time of year. We offer you the bread of community. So in the small bowl on this each platter is gluten-free, nut-free bread for those who might need that. So Do you want to do the moving? Okay.
Folks with us and online, there's going to be a little bit set up here. If you're looking for a normal sermon, I apologize, it ain't going to happen today. What we're about today is to share with you a presentation that was written by a dear friend, no longer with us, Reverend Alec Craig. I met Alec in New England. He was, by his own description, crotchety old New Englander. He was proud of it. What soft heart, Alec Craig. So he wrote what was basically a one-person play, and it is centered in down East Maine. And so I saw this, I thought, man, this is like home except just further up the chain. This is Appalachia too, so is it okay if I Appalachianize that, if that's a word? And Alex said sure. So what I have for you this morning is really Alex's germ and soul. And for me, it's got to do with those of us who make this our home, Appalachia our home. It has to do with us too. Terrible sound. No, no. Okay. Beauty.
Did you, by chance, pretty boy, pick up my phone and leave yours?
It's Marius, maybe? Okay. So, if we can, we also need to move the chalice. Yeah. Folk, you might want to move out because it's going to be kind of centered to your back. I don't want you looking back at my large head. Almost there. Thank you. Need to check the tuning after the budge. Sorry, folks, you don't want to hear an tuned guitar. I'm going to need to grab a tuner, and I'll be right back. This is why God made roadies and stagehands. Better keep me from stumbling all over the place this morning, yes. That would be good too. Originally written as a family chronicle in Down East Maine, this work traces the course of one person's life as seen through the cycles of Thanksgiving. It has been transplanted further down the Appalachian chain, shaped to fit the culture of the Mid-South. There's a place dear to me that I'm longing to be, with my friends at the old country church. There with Mother we went, and our Sundays they were spent with our friends at the old country church. Precious years of memories, oh what joy they bring to me, and how I long once more to be with my friends in the old country church. November 24th, 1930, it is cold and clear. There's a slight wind. The air wasn't so warm up on the mountain this year, but our crowd was 26 in number. Graham made that usual fantastic chocolate cake for my birthday this Saturday. She and my grandpa have had it rough, what with the whole country on the brink of folding up. But they managed to hold on to the farm. That's more than can be said for some of their neighbors. The big, and I do mean big, news was introducing Emma to the family. Everybody was pleased, and for a few minutes, nobody talked about the last election or religion or farming. Emma and I were lucky, though, to finish normal school. That, by the way, was back in the day when genders were separated, when they went to college. Look it up, whippersnappers. Emma and me were lucky to finish normal school. We're to be married come Christmas, but then we have to teach in different schools. Silly. Yep, we're going to get married at her folks' place and hop the train for downtown Knoxville and a weekend at the Dixie House Hotel. I'm married. Ain't that a kick? I'm feeling fairly grown up, but my brother Josh is a regular terror. One minute he's driving sis nuts, paper wads, and then the next he's helping Graham put up a squash just like a real gentleman. Graham is 82 now. She's deaf as a stone, but gentle as a soul as God ever made. White gloves until she's home from church, carefully presses those gloves and wraps them into a pale yellow hanky her mother made for her during the Great War. Yep, food was great again this year. Turkey, chocolate cake, and family. That's our idea of Thanksgiving. On all these, you're welcome to sing if you know them. There's a dark and a troubled side of life, but there's a bright and a sunny side too. And though we meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also may view. So let's keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. Well, it will help you every day. It will brighten all your way if you live on that sunny side of life. November 26, 1945, cloudy, warm, no rain. And I'm 37 years old now and been married for nigh on 15 years. Emma and I have 3 children, and we have lived to tell about it. And truth be told, I wondered if I'd ever see them again. I wonder if I'd be able to leave Italy alive, what with all the cleanup we had to do there in the war, and I still have nightmares. The sound of a gun sends me ducking for cover. That's a real challenge when a fellow wants to go do some rabbit or wild turkey hunting. Josh and Sis, they and a handful of us walked all the way up the mountain today, and we told stories about our grandparents, how much we missed them all. But I kept thinking about all those boys drafted out of my high school class, how many of them came home? And of the ones who did, how many of themselves are still on the beaches of Normandy or Iwo Jima or North Africa? Yeah, I imagine the 5th reunions of those classes are going to be sad ones indeed. We came back to the house to Ma's chocolate cake, being my birthday. Pa took me aside and whispered something to the effect that she had traded ration stamps in order to get the ingredients for that masterpiece. Brother Josh and his wife, Sally, a little quiet. We've done our best to comfort them, but when your own child runs out in front of a car like that, there's only so much comfort to be found. And still, they came to East Point this year, sorrows and all, struggles and all. It's good to be together on this old mountain. Wouldn't be Thanksgiving anywhere else. Come senators and congressmen, please heed the call. Don't you stand in the doorway, don't you block up the hall. For he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. There's a battle outside and it's raging, and it'll shake your windows and it'll rattle your walls, 'cause the times they are changing. Yeah, the times they are changing. November 25th, 1960. Clear, cool, some wind. And after a good breakfast, Josh and I climbed in the Studebaker and drove up the mountain. What with Mom and Dad and Meg and Jack and Josh and Sally and the rest of our various and sundry tribes do around noon, I decided to get some time for myself. So we expected 35 this year, and we got 42. So much has happened in these days. I mean, the word is we may have a Catholic president before too much longer. I can remember the time when Irish folk were outcast in these parts. And I'm no prophet, but I'm here to tell you that television is going to change this old world. Next thing you know, they'll be sending rocket ships to the moon. Emma made that chocolate cake this year, and it was good enough to roll your socks down. Yellow roses on a green golf course with a shiny new ball smack in the middle. She put a candle on for every one of our clan. And then after dinner, Ma talked about East Point and family and Thanksgiving. And Josh held her hand the whole time. And me, I just whispered to Emma, you know, there are those places in life where you just want everything to stop. You want to live in just that moment. It's good enough. And that's what we had. A tiny space of time, so special. Feels like church. Quite a day this year. Good Thanksgiving. We had an apartment in the city. And me and Loretta, we like living there. It's been years since the kids have grown. They got kids of their own. They left us alone. John and Linda, they live in Omaha. Joey's somewhere on the road. We lost Davy in the Korean War. Don't know what for. Don't matter much anymore. They say old oak trees just grow stronger, and old rivers grow wilder every day. But old people, we let them just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there. Hello. November 28, 1975. Another good year, clear, warm, still. And Emma and I have been retired for 2 years now. You know, that Jerry Ford ain't much of a golfer or a speaker, but I got a hunch he's not a bad man. He knows there are people out here suffering, tries to do something about it. Josh and Sally are talking about opening a bed and breakfast. And their youngest boy, Pete, wasn't with them this year. Something about a drug problem. And Josh says he learned more about tough love and just love than he ever wanted to know. But Pete's like one of the lucky ones. He reached out. Josh took a walk with me after dinner. We talked about how we miss Graham and Mom and Dad, and about how the faces change here on East Point every year, and then the spirit is always the same. We talked about how good it is to have a brother for a best friend. And then we came back to Emma's chocolate cake, but just one big candle this year, because Emma said with all them bodies floating around, we get arrested for an unlicensed bonfire. So just one candle this year. And it was Leo, one of the great-grandchildren, who asked me if I was old as God. Some days, I said. Yeah, some days. Emma and me are the family historians now. How did that happen? When did we become storytellers, not story listeners? Yeah, some days I feel old as God. But it's also our time. It's our time to tell the story of Thanksgiving, the story of our family. A mansion on a hill is a lovely sight to see, but like any other house, you know it's only temporary. For those who'd walk a mile just to hold an empty hand, they know what it means to be a wealthy man. And ashes to ashes, dust into dust, buildings will crumble, and bridges they will rust, and mountains will disappear, and rivers will dry up. So it goes with everything but love. So it goes with everything but love. So it goes. November 26, 1990. Cold, drizzle, and wind. Another Thanksgiving, another birthday. I'm 85 years old. The days, the weeks, the months, they all go by too fast. Funny, when I was young, I thought old age would be a time to slow down, especially after I retired. Emma used to say I never retired, just shifted from the classroom to the workshop. And even alone now, my kids scattered to the winds. Time goes by so quickly. Today has been a day of surprises. The last word from everybody was that nobody could make it up to the old house this year. And what with Emma and Sally and Josh out in California, Emma being sick and can't get to me this year, it was an awful blow. And I woke up as glum as the day itself. Almost didn't take the ride up to Eastport. Sat around till around 11. Finally made a thermos of coffee and a sandwich. No sense in an old man just sitting around moping about the past. But I couldn't help but think about the way things used to be. So there I was, long-faced and weepy, and about the time I was sure this is going to be the worst Thanksgiving, let alone birthday ever, an old Jeep kept rumbling up the mountain. And out jumped three of the sorriest looking ragamuffins you've ever seen. One of them was Bobby, my oldest grandson. Seems he was able to get away from college this year. He heard nobody else was going to be on East Point, so he got his buddies and they came on up. They brought cold pizza, warm sodas, and a chocolate cake from the IGA down the valley. They informed me that they had driven 170 miles to get there, so I better plan on some company right through the weekend. This is my birthday. This is my Thanksgiving, my life. God bless Alex Craig.
I invite you to rise again in voice, body, or spirit. Number 349, again, we gather together.
Together in joyful thanksgiving, acclaiming creation whose bounty we share. Both sorrow and gladness we find now in our living. We sing a hymn of praise to the life that we bear. We gather together to join in the journey, confirming a meeting, a passage to be, a true affirmation in joy and tribulation, when bound to human care and finally more free.
From UU minister Robin Gray are these words of parting. The flame is extinguished, but not our hope for the future. Our courage in the face of change, I'm going to do that again. The flame is extinguished, but not our hope for the future, our courage in the face of change, or the hope we bring to this world. And now, as we are doing these days, please join in singing hymn number 170, verse 1, twice. We are a gentle, angry people.
You can just sing it through once today. And the words will be on the. We're doing this for the foreseeable future because it represents how we feel.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
There's potluck available.